What would you do if your Airbnb turned out to be haunted? Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, believe it or not, there are tons of stories about people who've had the spookiest experiences while staying in supposedly cozy accommodations. So, we kick things off with our main character, Sarah. She was super excited about her weekend escape to this quaint little cabin in the woods. The photos looked amazing, the reviews were glowing, and it seemed like the perfect spot to unwind. But as soon as Sarah arrived, things started to feel a bit off. First, she noticed that the lights flickered, even during the day. At first, she brushed it off, thinking it was just an old cabin thing. But soon after settling in, she heard strange creaks and whispers echoing through the empty rooms. Her friends laughed it off, but Sarah couldn't shake this uneasy feeling. Was it just her imagination or something more sinister lurking in the shadows? As the night fell, things escalated quickly. Sarah and her friends decided to have a little fun, sharing ghost stories around the fireplace to build up some excitement. But as they recounted spine-chilling tales, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew heavy, and a chill swept through the room. Suddenly, they heard a loud bang from upstairs. The group exchanged nervous glances, and one brave friend suggested they investigate. As they climbed the creaky staircase, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of dread. When they reached the top, they discovered a door slightly ajar, revealing a dusty old room that felt like it hadn't been touched in decades. But what really sent shivers down their spines was the old family portrait hanging crookedly on the wall. One of the faces looked eerily familiar. To make matters worse, they started noticing weird occurrences around the cabin. Items went missing, only to turn up in random places. Shadows flitted in their periphery, and whispers seemed to follow them wherever they went. It was like the cabin had a life of its own, and it was becoming increasingly clear that they weren't welcome. The climax hit when they decided to take matters into their own hands and conduct a little seance. Armed with candles and a makeshift Ouija board, they gathered in the living room, feeling brave, or maybe a bit foolish. As they called out to any spirits present, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The temperature dropped, their breaths visible in the air, and the candles flickered wildly. Then, out of nowhere, the lights went out completely. Panic set in as they scrambled for their phones to use as flashlights. In that moment of chaos, they heard a distinct voice whisper, "Get out." It was so chilling that it felt like icy fingers grazed their necks. They bolted from the cabin, hearts racing, adrenaline pumping, and fear consuming them. So, what did Sarah and her friends learn from this haunting experience? They realized that not all Airbnb stays are as cozy as they seem. While they were looking for a peaceful escape, they stumbled into a nightmare that they would never forget. The key takeaway? Always do your research and trust your gut when something feels off. Now, it's your turn. Have you ever had a spooky travel experience? Share your stories in the comments below. And if you're curious about more haunted locations, check out my other videos where we dive into the scariest places around the world. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales.